Hi everybody. Are we 6 feet away? I think we are. We're good. All right. So everybody, I hope you've been social distancing and putting your masks on. There are a lot of great artists that are doing masks now, so look out for those. 2 years ago, we did the first Legendary Women Artists of Venice Awards with Lauren Doyle, and we did it at the Irwin Hotel in a tiny little Red Bull room. We were not social distancing. We were not afraid. But this year, we just had to do the Legendary Women Artists of Venice Awards again because they are making art even in this pandemic, and they deserve to be honored. Our first honoree is Robin Murez.
Hey there. Hi, Sunny. This is Astro, studio dog, welcoming you. My current project, I'm building the Venice Flying Carousel. And so this is my studio where I'm carving all the animals. They each bring out stories of the history of Venice. And the carousel itself will be bicycle propelled. One kid can pedal a bike and 15 adults and kids can ride at a time. And it's just kind of a little bit bigger, no-tech kinetic sculpture that brings out the stories of Venice, as I've been doing over the past number of years. I've got sculptures up and down Abbot Kinney that do that too in different ways, and along Venice Boulevard and Main Street. So here we are. What can I tell you? This will be, people oftentimes ask when it will be done, and so it'll be done when I'm done, but I'm hoping maybe like a year and a half. Slowed down a little bit by the COVID. Oh, but something kind of interesting. So each of the animals is sponsored by a family or business in Venice, and l'escargot, the snail, was the choice of Joël Dumas, who actually was honored, rightfully so, as a legendary artist of Venice. Oh, and see my t-shirt? In honor of the award. Thank you.
Our second honoree is MB Bosun.
Hi.
Hey.
Hi, come on in. Thanks. Well, this is good. This will be the last studio visit that ever happens in here. The last serious piece I did was like kind of hearkening back to my original artwork, which was much more militaristic and kind of a little more graphic, a little more hard edge. But I wanted to do like a hard edge piece that had the military aspect to it, but that felt also very soft and kind of fuzzy.
How has the pandemic changed your work or your outlook on your work or just your process?
Well, I don't have a process because I'm not working. I feel very much like being obsessed with painting every day for all these years. I feel this very strange like pullback from the necessity of making art. I don't feel like it's super necessary right now to make paintings. It doesn't really line up with the pandemic, the feel of what's going on in the world, what's going on in our neighborhood. I feel like there's better work to be done outside of my studio right now, and I'm very interested in that. And whether it's political, I'm looking at a lot of different things, but I definitely want to do more community-driven work than ego-driven work, which is painting for me right now.
Thanks, MB. And now we're going to hear from artist and board member Sandra Zebi, who designed this year's award. Take it away, Sandra.
Hi everybody, my name is Sandra Zebi, and I want to introduce the trophies for the Legendary Women of Venice. The idea started with my vases. They are the shape of a woman. This is the Watermelon Sisters. That's one of my original Watermelon Lady. And this is my latest design. So based on the women's silhouettes, I came up with the trophy's shape. So the trophy goes to Robin Mears. Congratulations. Yes.
Thank you for the award. I hope that it benefits the Carousel because it's a project that I welcome everybody's involvement in.
Congratulations, MV. MV, Bosun.
Thank you so much. This is beautiful. I thank you, Sunny, and thank you, Venice Art Crawl. I really appreciate it. It means a lot to me, especially given the times that we're in and everything that's going on, and how much we need to appreciate our creative class in this city in particular, in this neighborhood in particular, and I'm proud to be the face of that. Thank you.
Thanks, MV. And now we're going to do a Zoom call with Ruth Chase. Congratulations, Ruth.
Say that, hey, welcome to my studio. My name is Ruth Chase, and I was born and raised in Venice. And most people know me for the West of Lincoln project, which I'm going to talk a little bit about today. But first, I really want to thank everyone for voting for me for the Venice-Legendary Artist Award. Very huge for me, having grown up in Venice and watching the art world for me to be part of this. I'd also like to thank, or not thank, but congratulate, there we go. I'd like to congratulate Robin Mears and MB Bosun for also being part of this. So let's talk a little bit about the work, right? I'm wearing my Venice Pride shirt today, and I think Echo in Venice made this. So let's cue up a slide. West of Lincoln project was really a project that was about the community. It was for the community, and it was a collaboration with the community. So I don't know if you have the West of Lincoln painting to show. You showed it in the beginning. It also was part of 12 individual portraits. So there's one right here that's of Fernando Manzanilla, where I interviewed community members that grew up in Venice and listened to their stories. And then they led the work in something that I later called biographical portraiture. So biographical portraiture is really where the artist is working in service to the person that they are working with. So let me read you something that Fernando wrote or said in his interview. Some of you may know Fernando, and if you do, it would be great to hear you give a shout out. Now we're talking old school Venice, not that old school, but kind of like 80s. So this piece right here is called Not Just Me Anymore, and it's a collaboration with Fernando Manzanilla, who was born in 1966 and grew up on Washington Way, down the street from me, actually. He says, if I could and alcohol, to follow a career, to go to college, to get an education. That is what I tell my kids now. I have two beautiful kids, and they are my reason for being sober. It wasn't until I realized my behavior could take my kids away that I actually got sober. The stories have made a positive impact on my children, teaching them what drugs and unresolved anger will do. All the crap I put myself through became my best tools to help other addicts and alcoholics today. So that whole project was really about taking the local community and resourcing them as having value outside of being a doctor or a lawyer. A lot of the things that we usually look at when we're looking at value in people in the community. That a life with experience is a tremendous value to the community. So anyhow, the West of Lincoln, you could see the painting. This was the West of Lincoln painting. It's a different painting. Rick Clayton, a local artist that I grew up around, we hung out during the punk rock days in Venice, did the script, which was the Venice letters. He sent them in to me, and then I transcribed them on the painting. And this particular painting had about 70 entries with a lot of local people that you probably even know. Francisco Letelier, who's a friend of mine from actually even before he moved to Venice. And anyhow, everybody submitted a audio story. So this piece comes with headphones, and you can hear each person's story. Another slide, it would be great to share it. So the West of Lincoln project was also awarded a certificate of appreciation from the City of Los Angeles for Arts in Action. And really that goes to the whole community that participated. It was like 300 people. Here's Fernando, and you can see some of the symbolism in his work, Actually, I painted it, but we worked very closely together. Again, this biographical portraiture, it is literally led by the person you're serving. So I saw myself as serving Fernando's story, and he led how it was, how it came out, and everything was run by him. All of these stories can be found on my website. And here we go, my new work. Anyhow, my website is ruthchase.com, but please, all these stories, there's, let me just give a shout out. Leonard Duran, Gloria Omar, Brad James, Metta Zimmerman, Rhonda Lynne Weiss, David Fowler, Eddie Hedvina, Solo Scott, Elaine Love Leslie, and also Jenna Lasco and Denise Woods were big on this. You can hear all their stories on my website. And I encourage you, if you're new to Venice, learn a little bit about the history, become part of the fiber that literally made the place that you love so much. I can't say enough that Venice was built on a lot of pain and suffering, and also a lot of joy. And I think that it benefits people who love Venice to actually embrace all of that and have an understanding of why Venice is the way it is, so that they can integrate with it, meet it where it's at. Anyhow, this is my new work. This piece is called, what is this piece called? It's called Repurposing Shame. And on women, what it means to be a woman. A lot of the work is channeled through my own identity and gender issues, being a mother, watching my daughter grow up. And in this series, women have submitted their own stories, and they're told through looking at other people's perspective on what it means to be a woman. So, do we have another picture? And if you have any questions, please ask them in the YouTube thing. I'll show up and answer them. This piece is called Finding Another Way. There are 3 women who submitted images to this piece, and it has to do with being a woman, and God, can we relate to this in general lately? The struggles we have when we feel oppressed and the ways we find another way around the problem. The woman on the right has a fence on her face, and that fence is significant of both the border, the fence on the border, but also the fences that we have in our lives and the ways we have had to learn to work around systems. And so that's this piece. Is there another slide? If there's not, I can find something else to talk about. Let me tell you. Oh, good. This is the piece I hoped would show. So this is Linda. Sorry, I don't know why I'm calling you that. This is Rhonda Lynne Weiss, and her grandmother was known as Miss P, and she worked at the old police station. Rhonda was part of the West of Lincoln. This is one of the individual portraits that she led. The Venice community housing, and I'm not sure if it's still there or they auctioned it off, but many of you old schoolers, the generations before me might know Miss P. And Rhonda shares her stories about going to the beach and having picnics with her grandmother. And as you can see in the back of the lens, that's her grandmother as a memory. And she also was very connected to theater and film. So she spent a lot of time at the Fox theaters, which, again, an old school thing. Another slide. Let's see if we've got another slide. All right, so another piece that I did in the West of Lincoln, which ended up being a blank canvas. Good, there we go. This piece was the 13th portrait, and it was in the art exhibit, which was at Venice Arts, and it was blank. And I'll read what the tag said. The tag said, "This canvas is to pay tribute to the history of the Oakwood District in Venice. African-American residents of Venice have made a valuable and important contribution to the development of Venice's unique cultural fabric and history. The West of Lincoln project is incomplete without this story being told, but it is not a story that can be told by me. It must come from the community itself. This blank canvas serves as a placeholder for an important and untold biography, and as an acknowledgement of the people who built their lives in what is now known as the Oakwood District." So that was probably my favorite piece. And it was the best way I knew how to include it in the exhibition. So I don't know if oh, there you go. This is at Venice Arts. It was one of the first exhibitions at their new space. And you can see the different individual portraits that were there. And on this side was their biography. All of the biographies were handled by Jen Alasko and I'm spacing Denise Woods. And that happened because I was able to get a grant for an individual artist, which was really, really helpful. It didn't pay me, but it did help me provide some kind of support to the writers that helped with the project. One of the things that I learned from this project truly was how communities are built, that communities are built on generations that keep creating change. And one of the things I observed is that when well-intending people move to a community, they often move there with great ideas about how to create a better space and are often very disconnected from the items, the things that make that space unique and special. And so I really grew to have an appreciation that there's a history in a place that you live, and that when you're a newcomer, there's a way to integrate instead of separate. So with that, I am going to leave you, and you can find my work at ruthchase.com. I love you all. Be nice to each other. Remember that people are an asset and a resource to a community, the most valuable in my opinion. Oh, I'm going to say, don't forget that, who's up next? Who's up next? Patrick Marston and Michael Brunt, and please donate to the Westside Food Bank. I mean, this is a benefit for the Westside Food Bank. So Michael and Patrick, I love your work. I'm wearing my Venice Pride shirt. I can't wait to watch you, and I'm going to kick back and watch you as soon as I sign off on this. Much love, Venice.